Have you ever had the unsettling feeling that someone was toying with your mind? Well, you might want to listen to your gut feel because that is actually possible. The truth is that not all forms of manipulation are as overt as a villain in a thriller movie. In fact, the most powerful mind games can occur in your everyday life. There are people who employ subtle tactics of dark psychology, which involves manipulation to persuade, deceive, and control others. This behavior goes against the principles of psychology, which is the study of the mind, emotions, and behavior. Simply put, dark psychology is used to manipulate others without their targets even realizing it. And today, we'll delve into these clandestine maneuvers. We'll be shedding light on 6 dark psychology tricks people use to manipulate others. We want to equip you with the knowledge to identify and potentially even counteract them. Let's get to it. Number 1. Authority and persuasion. This is often a two-pronged manipulation tactic. Authority involves leveraging one's position of power or influence to make someone do something that person may not want to do. For example, a manager might use their authority to make an employee do tasks they don't want to do. In extreme cases, the manager might even threaten to sack the employee if they don't do what they're told. Meanwhile, persuasion is all about using compelling arguments or appeals to change someone's opinion or behavior. You see it all the time in politics. Think of those running for various offices who try to convince people to vote for them and not the other candidates. And let's not forget about big brands. They love using celebrity endorsements to persuade us to buy into their offers. Think about it. When we see credible celebrities promoting a product, it makes us trust the product as well. Plus, it makes us desire that product even more. No wonder we're more likely to buy it. And when authority and persuasion are combined, it can be potent. People may easily feel compelled to comply with the persuader's requests due to their perceived authority and trustworthiness. Number 2. Restricting choices. Here, the manipulator tries to limit someone's choices in order to get that person to do what they want. The idea is that by narrowing down their options, it's easier to convince that person to make a specific choice that's in their favor. What's interesting is that this tactic can also be used for good. For example, imagine a salesperson showing you just 2 car options that perfectly match your budget and requirements. They do this to make your decision-making process easier and save you from the overwhelming task of choosing from a bunch of cars. But in certain situations, this manipulative tactic can be quite risky. Imagine someone intentionally keeping important info from you just to limit your ability to make data-driven decisions. Or worse, putting you in a position where you have to choose between 2 equally lousy options only. Sadly, this kind of restricting choices happens all too often, and usually by people who don't even seem manipulative at first glance. Number 3. Emotional manipulation. This is all about manipulating emotions and using deception to make someone act differently than they normally would. Those who use emotional manipulation trigger feelings of guilt, shame, sadness, or fear in another person to get them to do their bidding. For instance, the manipulator can use fear to control others, convincing them to take a specific action or believe something by distorting, exaggerating, or even making up facts. Another tactic involves creating a sense of obligation within someone, compelling them to do something even if it's against their will. It's not that difficult to become a victim of this kind of manipulation because it can be quite discreet. By the way, make sure to subscribe if you've learned something new today. Number 4. Reverse psychology. Detecting reverse psychology when it's being done can be quite tricky. This is because the manipulator may say something that seems to go against what they really want just to get their victim to do what they actually desire. For example, if your partner says something like, "I don't care about our anniversary, let's just forget about it," they might actually want to celebrate it, but they're hoping that you'll insist on celebrating it, even make plans for it. Reverse psychology is a technique that's used in many different situations, especially in parenting. Some parents use this method as part of discipline to influence how their children behave. And you know what? Teachers and managers also use this approach. Teachers can use reverse psychology to motivate their students to study harder. Meanwhile, managers can use this tactic on their employees to make them perform better. Reverse psychology is a powerful tool that can convince people to do things they wouldn't normally want or think is right. It works by making someone feel like they are going against the status quo by doing what is actually desired by the manipulator. And it's in our nature to go against the norm, which makes this strategy highly effective. Plus, it can make people think the idea came from themselves, making them more likely to go along with it. Number 5. Gaslighting. This is a manipulative tactic that aims to make you doubt yourself and question your sanity or reality. Gaslighting is all about making you more vulnerable to the manipulator's desires by making you question your own memories, thoughts, and feelings. It's a sneaky behavior that can be used in different situations. Let's take the case of an abusive spouse. The partner may feel that their thoughts and feelings aren't valid because their spouse kept telling them that they're crazy or overreacting about different things. So they'll feel like they're the ones who are wrong and need to change by following what their abusive spouse says. It can also happen within the workplace. For instance, a boss's actions can make his team question whether or not they are being treated fairly. But their boss might dismiss their concerns and make them feel like they're just being too sensitive, when in fact they're really working in an unfair environment. Gaslighting can also happen when a friend constantly invalidates your feelings and experiences. So, you end up feeling like you're the one who's being unreasonable or too sensitive. This manipulation tactic can be overt or subtle. It depends on how sneaky the manipulator is and the victim's ability to recognize that they are being gaslighted. But most often, this tactic can be hard to detect because it's often done gradually, making the victim question their own reality over time. Number 6. Love bombing. This tactic is all about showering someone with excessive affection and attention, hoping to manipulate that person into doing what they want. Love bombing is actually a manipulation tactic used to create emotional dependency in someone. It makes the victim feel indebted and less likely to question the manipulator's true intentions or actions down the line. This tactic is commonly used in romantic relationships, but it can happen in any kind of relationship, including friendship. And it can be pretty hard to spot, especially when the victim is so caught up in the love or attention that's being showered to them. You see, acts of love bombing include constant praise and compliments, grand gestures and gifts, and intense emotions right from the start of a relationship. That's why it's easy to get carried away by all that attention. Who doesn't want to feel special, right? But the truth is that it can actually be harmful in the long run. Love bombing can lead to the manipulator having control over their victim. And if you liked this video, then check out these related videos to see more. And make sure to like this video to let the algorithm know you'd like to see more videos like these.